ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. Come, a reluctant singer. Anything that you like. Of course. Come, chant.
This is a little Swami Shivananda wrote this, I think, and it just goes love, 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 love. As brothers and sisters is our goal to love one another as I love thee, for God loves us all. And then you repeat, love, love, love. This brothers and sisters is our goal. To love one another as I love thee, for God loves us all. Love, 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 love. This brothers and sisters is our goal. To love one another as I love thee, for God loves us all. Namo Shivaya.
Questions, you can write them down, or there is a mic going around, you can ask it as well.
So I have a question that I've never had an opportunity to like succinctly ask to a Swami. And essentially, it's basically what the value of doing your karmic role and staying in the world versus taking renunciation for just anyone. It's not what's the worth of taking renunciation. It's, if the ultimate goal of taking birth is to get enlightened, and taking renunciation is an expedient way to get there, then logically it would seem that we should all just take renunciation right now and be diligent about it and get there. So why is it the case that somebody might be discouraged from taking renunciation? That's not the real question. Why would they be discouraged? It's just what's the role, and why would it be right for somebody, or why would it not be right, and what's the meaning that might determine either of those outcomes?
Very good question, and an ancient one. Arjuna, 5,000 years ago, also had the same question. In fact, this one and the same question drives the chapters of the Bhagavad Gita from the start to the finish. In the beginning, he complains, I don't want to fight this war. It is terrible. Why? Because they are my own people. They're just all my people. And it's I can't kill them. They just belong to me, and they are related to me. I can't kill them. What am I going to do? I'm going to renounce this world. That's what he says. It's better to lead a life of alms rather than what? Rather than fight this gory war. Don't want to fight this war? I'd better lead a life of alms. Alms means renunciation. No one else takes alms. So he says that, and he's very conflicted. Because when Krishna speaks, he talks about two distinct lifestyles. The first lifestyle he talks about is that of renunciation. Burn the bridges, burn the boats, burn everything other than that which has orange color. And then it's just you and the sky. The monastics in our tradition do not have any organization keeping them up. We don't have, there are no stipends, there are no anything. You just live, and you live on alms basically. And so that is one lifestyle. The other lifestyle is to do whatever you're doing, because as soon as we hear the word renunciation, we feel like renouncing what? Renunciation. Yeah. So therefore, the second kind of lifestyle is known as karma yoga, where yoga means lifestyle here. And in the second kind of lifestyle, what do? We do whatever we are doing, keeping moksha in front and center. We use the, as you put it, the karmic role to grow and mature spiritually, emotionally. As you know, we don't have to do anything for physical maturity, that happens on its own. But for emotional maturity, one has to put in a little effort. And what is that effort? Doing what one is meant to do, primarily because if one does what one is meant to do, then with the right attitude that the actions are coming from God. Actually, God is the doer, I'm just the proxy, I'm just what is called in Sanskritam nimitta. Nimitta means I'm just a sorry excuse, and Bhagavan is the doer. And then the results of action, of course, accrue to who? To me, but then they are all a present from Bhagavan, prasada. So my buddhi means the attitude, is one of glad acceptance of whatever comes in life. The results of action are not unwelcomed, they are actually welcomed because they are here, whether we like it or not. So I have to get used to that. And so this is what I have to do. And then in the process, my likes and dislikes take a side, to go on one side, because what I want is emotional maturity. That is the phala, the fruit of every action. So I'm not focusing on what I like. I always remember this incident that a small child approached Swamiji, my guru, and she said to him, "What is your favorite activity, Swamiji?" And Swamiji said something very beautiful. He said that I like whatever there is to do. This is a karma yogi, the one who grows from doing as one likes to liking whatever one has to do. This is the growth. And so, in this growth, what happens is that when the self knowledge comes in the form of the teachings, one is much more receptive, one is present, the mind is tranquil, the heart is patient, it's ready to open, it's ready to blossom. And the sun of knowledge opens the lotus of the heart, and then the knowledge takes place. So you see, the knowledge and renunciation have very little to do with one another. Knowledge, uh, you don't have to be a renunciant to have knowledge. You can be a karma yogi and still pursue knowledge and gain the knowledge also. You don't have to be a renunciate. But if you are a renunciant, you better study. That's the thing. So, renunciation without proper preparation. Renunciation means what? One should be able to, and in fact, love spending time alone. And if you say, oh, I love spending 5 minutes alone, that does not qualify. Now, 5 minutes doesn't cut it, 1 hour also doesn't cut it. One should really want solitude. One should be a solitary person. One need not be an introvert, but one is inward looking. One is inward looking, one is solitude friendly, and then what else? One is not very particular about what is that? The having things a certain way all the time. Okay, if something is not working, we try. But supposing it doesn't work out, I want this. Okay, try, go and get it. No, but I don't know how to get it. And I tried getting it, but it's not coming. It's not, I'm not having it. So then what do you do if you're not having it? Sit and cry. No. So allow it to be and just gladly let it be. Just say, okay, next time. Better luck next time. Let's see. Let's try again. Come, come. There is a place here, right here for you. Come. Next time, let us see. And that kind of a flexibility is there. And that's how one grows. So if one is ready to be a renunciant, you don't need anybody's permission. You don't need anybody's validation. You don't need anybody's blessings. You can just go renounce right now. Okay? But if one is not ready, then one inwardly renounces. You cannot get away from renunciation. You either outwardly renounce and sit in a corner, or you inwardly renounce and pretend to be in the world and do things, but without being being in the world but not of it. That is how. Is that clear? Okay.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
So I wonder how the Upanishads would advise me to know what's my duty, because in my career, like maybe I'm helping one person, but then I'm supposed to be somewhere else at a certain time, and then there's a report I need to do for someone else, and I don't know. I sometimes don't know my duty, and I know that's I think of Arjuna.
Yes.
I think I'm often in that despondent stage.
Yes. What is the cause of the despondency? Is that connected with duty?
Yes, because in my world there are many duties that seem to happen at this same time. Like I was working in the kitchen a few minutes ago. Shambhavi said, "Come," and I thought, "Is my duty kitchen or is my duty here?" And that's like, I think that goes on for most of us. Like we don't know. We have to balance, and we don't know. Yeah.
Yes. You know, you are here, so that means your duty is to be here because you already are. So that's nice. Sometimes you see, duty in Sanskritam is called swadharma, my own dharma. What I am supposed to do in this incarnation, and what my responsibilities are. Swadharma is not outside of the big dharma, samanya dharma, general dharma of not hurting anybody, and then what? Not killing people and not dissing people if you don't have to do that. All these things, general dharma. And then Vishesha dharma, following the laws of the land. Certain places have certain things. Like in certain parts of the world, we drive on the right hand side. If you come to India and say, I'm going to, what should I say? I'm going to insist on being American when I drive. Yeah, what will happen? Famous last words, okay? So therefore, we have to be careful. So this is Vishesha Dharma. So Swadharma respects the Samanya Dharma, the general Dharma, and the general Dharma of the land and where whatever it is. There is a certain decorum. There is an ashram Dharma also. And then somewhere I saw one sign, to enter some temple. Which temple is that, Shambhavi? Some temple, shoulders covered, right? Yeah, all the temples, yes. Shoulders have to be covered. Certain things, shoes off, shoulders covered. Oh, but I just came from the beach. Doesn't matter. Go to your room, change, and then there is a decorum. There is a kind of a decorum wherever we go. That's also me following that decorum because I have respect for the place and I also have respect for myself. Why would I want to stand out like a sore thumb? So therefore, I will follow this. This is also part of Swadharma. So then this is Vishesha Dharma, but that's what I said. It's not outside of Swadharma. So Swadharma I see as having duty having two components. The first component is articulated through relationships. When I'm born, already so many people are claiming me. Somebody says, this is my daughter. Somebody says, this is my son. Somebody says, this is my grandchild. And I'm already born related. I can't help it. I didn't choose it. I'm already born in this body, which I did not choose. I have this body mind complex, and somebody is already saying I belong to them. So then there are roles based on the duty. If I am a son or a daughter, there are certain roles. And those roles cause problems. The roles don't cause problems. The problems belonging to the role, I start to internalize. Yeah. There is a difference between me, the person, and the role that I'm playing. In India, for Rama's birthday and all these things, we have what is called in April, we have Rama Leela, story of Rama for 10 days, 9 days. And then during Navaratri also, in October, we have Rama Leela. And the person playing Ravana with 9 artificial heads has to go sideways through the door. He's actually the village goldsmith, okay? He's not Ravana. He's actually a very meek fellow, but he's got the physique for Ravana, so they made him Ravana. He's, big, brawny guy. They made, the play is done. 9 days are over. He refuses to take off his costume. Still goes to the shop and acts out the Ravana part. Give me. Otherwise, I'll abduct your wife. He says things like this. Totally off script he goes. In the beginning, like all of us here, they laugh, they indulge him, they give him, he goes to the local bar, they give him a few drinks for free because he has entertained them for the whole 10 days. But after a while, they get sick of him. Correct? How long can this continue? And they boot him out. And so similarly, when one identifies with the role where the role and the person roll into one, then it's a problem. But then this is a universal problem. Everybody says, OMG, I have so much to do. I have no time. I have no place. I have nothing. And so many people to see, places to go, things to do, all these things, how to manage. It's a constant sense of overwhelm. One lives from overwhelm to overwhelm to overwhelm. And one is anxious all the time. There is a low level anxiety all the time. What am I doing? What am I doing? What not? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Maybe I should be doing this. Maybe I should be doing this. Oh, am I making a mistake? What is happening? How to do this properly? This seems to be the state of affairs of everybody. This is what, this is some kind of a, what's that? Swadharma gone wrong. And why does this happen? Because we haven't spent time getting to know the person. If I don't know the person who is playing the roles, because there are many, if I don't spend time with the person playing the role, then I will identify with the role at the cost of the person. The person is holy, the person is sacred, and the person is there, even though I feel it's not there sometimes. Sometimes people say, I feel empty. I'm just a bunch of actions. You are not a bunch of actions. You are very much there, and you are waiting to be discovered. And that is the second component of Swadharma. The first component is what do I as a being, what kind of roles I have to fulfill in this life. The second component of Swadharma is why do I have this particular body? Why wasn't I born in the body of a donkey? Why wasn't I born in the body of a monkey? Looks like they have a better life than I. Jump, jump, jump. Hop, hop, hop. Nice. Don't have to go to office. Don't have to work remotely. Don't have to pay bills. Near Rishikesh, there is one temple. And when we go there, it's in the hills. So when we go there with some offerings, they will be selling it outside the temples, one coconut, some bananas, and everything they'll put in a bag and give you. And they'll say, how many people? And you say, 5 people in our party. They'll make you buy the 6th one. And you don't know why until you encounter the monkeys. You go with the flow and buy the 6th one, and boy, you are glad you bought the 6th one, because they're all waiting there and you have to go like this and throw, and they catch it expertly. Take the coconut, bash it, and they are eating it. By the time you have climbed the stairs to the temple, that same monkey has finished it and has come and standing at the sanctum, holding a hand. And then they are becoming increasingly clever because they know we like small, cute things. So they are training their babies. And I was sitting in the puja in this temple, in this goddess temple. Myself and another Swamiji, we went there together and we are sitting in the puja. And then one small, cute little thing which looked like it was born day before yesterday comes and looks at me like this. And then I resisted it because the priest said if he comes inside, I'm going to throw a rock. He had kept a rock, so I didn't want him to get hurt. So I resisted it, but I couldn't stop making eye contact. One time by mistake, I made eye contact, and it was all over. He came inside, sat next to me, and would tap my leg every 2 minutes. Give me something. I said, you have to wait till it is offered to. And the priest frowned at me. He said, what are you doing? You're setting a terrible precedent here. So, and then he said, you must not be from India. And then he, then he avoided the monkey and gave me a box of sweets. And so then I just showed it to the monkey, and then I said, which one? And it pointed out. It said, this one. I gave it. I gave it, and then it held out another hand like a child. I gave one more to that hand, and then I wanted to see where it will go. It went out and gave the fee to the one big fat one was standing out there. Either the father or the relative or somebody, uncle. Yeah. See, they have so much more fun than us. Yeah. Why not be a monkey? Why do I have this body? Why do I have this kind of a mind? Why do I have this parentage? Why do I have these potentials? Why do I have this liability? These are all things to think about. This is the second component of Swadharma. Every body, pun intended, is not a mistake. No body is a mistake. Every body, mind, sense complex has a purpose. Nobody is a mistake. Why? Because Bhagavan doesn't make mistakes. That's why. Everybody who is here is meant to be here. The last line of Paradise Lost, what does it say? They also serve who only stand and wait. Maybe that's what it is. Everybody has a different way to express themselves. And sometimes it takes 2, 3 lifetimes to express what that purpose is. It doesn't come easily. But that doesn't mean I stop trying, because that is where the creativity is trapped. And that creativity needs to be released and needs to be embraced. Everybody has some kind of an expression. I have to make peace with that expression. I really love to dance, let us say, and I want to be a dancer, but I have a pair of left feet. Then what do? I try, stumble, and then what? Then, because of the left feet, what do I have to do? I have to see what else is left for me to do. I can't just do this because I'm not qualified here. The body is not cooperating, the mind is not cooperating. So I can't do this. I have to see where else does my expertise lie. It's like, in a machine, there are certain parts that have to stay still, absolutely still. Like what? Like the bolts on the Alaska airline doors. Okay. 767 Max. What is the job of the bolt? It's not to bolt, it is to sit quietly and sit tightly. Certain other parts are supposed to move. The moving parts move because the parts that are supposed to stay still stay still. At least that's how the script is, correct? If the bolts on the door in the Alaska airline flight had a human mind, I think this is what I would imagine them to be having a conversation. Why should I be a bolt? I should be not be sitting still all the time. How boring. Let me try and move. Oh, I can move anti-clockwise. Yay. Oh, this is fun. And then we all know what happened. So sometimes it takes time to discover. So how to know? Sit, breathe, and get to know the person who is performing the roles. But who is this person? Person, one has to, the best way to know this person is as a devotee. If I know myself as a devotee, then all the other roles become easy. A devotee daughter, a devotee who happens to be playing the role of a daughter, a devotee son, a devotee spouse, a devotee employer, a devotee employee, a devotee karma yogi. If the devotee is intact, then I can do, Bhagavan is there and I feel guided and I can just do this. Otherwise, I start getting overwhelmed. When there is overwhelm, it's good to sit and breathe. And if after I sit and breathe, it doesn't go away, then breathe in a paper bag. It will definitely go away. Breathing into paper bag is a, what should I say, cheap, immediate anti-anxiety mode. Little CO2 helps, not too much, okay, little bit. Yeah. Next.
So sanskaras have a big role to play in our journey towards self-realization. And these sanskaras become an obstacle. What can we do to remove those obstacles on our journey?
Samskaras become an obstacle means?
My attachment to certain
Okay,
things.
okay. Yeah. When the samskaras become samskar or the other, then they need to be removed. When we say samskaras, we mean two things. One is certain conditionings from childhood which are conducive to karma yoga. We also mean certain things that take me away from that. Yes. So here we are talking of the latter. Is that right? We are talking of those conditionings that do not help. So, that again, we have to have a sense of humor about it to be able to, in the spiritual quest, if you go like this, yeah, that is not what moksha looks like. We have to be able to laugh, especially at our own self. Because when we laugh at our own self, then other people also laugh, not at us, but with us. And we have more fun on the journey. It's all so much lighter when we are laughing. So we laugh at our mistakes, because usually when we make a mistake, what happens? We want to be extremely, there is guilt, there is hurt, there is intolerance, self-judgment, self-loath. So here we proceed with compassion, because how long that samskara has been in our life? From childhood, in the form of trauma, in response to trauma, some coping mechanism, which I don't need anymore because I needed it then. Now the coping mechanism has become what? A moping mechanism, okay? So I don't need that anymore. But yet I don't know how to give it up. I seem to be clinging to that. First thing is a lot of self love and compassion, because the journey is not A to B linear. It is more of a zigzag, more zag than zig, and more one step forward, how many ever steps back. So I have to have a lot of compassion. And then we can, have some we can have some kind of a gradual outgrowing. Certain things cannot be done gradually. Certain things have to be done then and there. You cannot say, I'm going to gradually get over something. It won't work. Certain things you have to give up immediately, because they are toxic for the body, for the mind, for the emotions, whatever it is. This also includes not just substances, but relationships as well. Sometimes it comes in the way of my progress, and it cannot jive, so it has to be given up. And certain other things can be given up gradually. Habits, etc., can be given up gradually, and even people. And so if you find yourself changing, if you find yourself coming to talks and attending things like this, following the path of moksha, then you will find yourself growing and the status quo is no longer acceptable. Here too, we are gentle. You can have a talk with the people. You can say, I'm not going to be coming to parties that much anymore. Oh, why? come to come to Bahamas with me and then you will also find out. That's what you invite them on your on the journey that you are. That is what my teacher did in his student days. And he started to follow Swami Chinmayanandaji, and he was going everywhere with him and attending satsangs and attending talks and everything. And then his friends would call him and say, but there's a new movie out. Come, we have to see this movie. And he would say, but there is a new satsang out. Come. Satsang in. Come. Come and attend this. He found that he was the one adjusting his life to go see the movie with his friends, but never his friends would come and attend a satsang. That is when he called them and told them, I'm not going to be attending, going to movies and parties so much with you because my life is changing. This can be done very gently so that the people around you know what to expect. And so this is how one gradually grows out of it. Because one must grow. You know, everything is a duty until it is not. Parenting is a duty until what time? Hmm? All the time. That's what the problem is. What? That's because you have a good attitude towards it. Yeah. But generally, people don't see it that way. And people are, not able to enjoy what they do. So at some point, it's not that the duty ends, you grow out of it. If you are a parent, then the happiest time is when you are able to watch them lead their lives happily. That means you're done. You've done a good job. You're done. You're just a spectator. You're in the audience. You're watching the play. You're watching the play and you are there to help, to lend a hand if something happens, but you just watch the play. But this we seem to be unable to do, especially if we are of Indian origin. We don't know when to stop parenting. Then after that comes what? Grandparenting. And then what? Great grandparenting. Then after that, great grandparenting. If one is still alive. So we need to let it go. Just hold things, admire it, let it go. When you let it go, everything comes. This is a very strange law of the universe. When I want it, it goes away. And when I don't want it, it comes. So when you really want something, let it go. It'll come. Next. Many nexts.
Thank you for coming back. I was here a year ago and it was
I remember.
So my question relates to how Vedanta is complementary to bhakti.
Mm.
Because Vedanta says, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not my emotions, I'm not my body, I'm not this. But then bhakti says, there is emotions, there is devotion, and I try to understand how they fit together.
Yeah. Actually, bhakti and mukti, or mukti means what is the outcome of Vedanta? What is mukti? Freedom, liberation. Bhakti and mukti are always together. without bhakti, there is no mukti. Just like I have to embrace all parts of myself. The emotions are there, the sorrow is there, the alienation is there. But if the sorrow and alienation are directed at another being, what happens? Any idea? They will run away. Okay, that's what is one outcome, one possible outcome. Or they will say, all right, I will babysit your sorrow and anxiety, provided you babysit mine. That's okay for the first 3 months. That's why it's called honeymoon period. After that, it gets messy. Very, very, very messy. And so, therefore, we have to have a buffer zone. That is we have to embrace everything before it can be given up. Bhakti is that buffer zone. It helps one, the devotion, because then all these painful emotions cannot be directed at another person. They have to be directed at the infallible who is able to absorb those emotions. That's why we have the picture of Lord Shiva drinking the poison called hala hala. Terrible poison. This is all metaphoric. They churned the ocean. That is the antahkarana, one's own inner psyche. The churning of the ocean is the churning of the inner psyche, full of all desirable objects. First, all useless things come out. The most desired thing is Amrita. Amrita means I want to be free of all this pain and sorrow. But you cannot be free of all the pain and sorrow without the pain and the sorrow coming out. And that was in the form of this poison. The collective unconscious gave rise to this poison in the form of this. It was so toxic that it was burning up the whole world, and people were just smelling it and were fainting. And Lord Shiva was the only one who could handle it, and he swallowed the poison, uh, giving us a clue how to deal with that pain within, how to deal with that sorrow within. Give it to Bhagavan. That is what bhakti is. Make it an altar of surrender, because only the altar of surrender has the power to alter you. That's all it is. Give it to Bhagavan. That is prayer. And prayer doesn't always have to be nice. Because in the Hindu tradition, the prayer can be, where were you all my life? This becomes a prayer. Who do you think you are? This is a prayer. This is not blasphemy for us. You can call God anything, including, how could you do this to me? How dare you do this to me? That is itself a prayer. Because that is supposed to be a prayer. That is what absorbs all that. That the inner pain is so much for things that were not our fault. The trauma, the angst, everything, the unconscious mind has to come out. And that's why bhakti. I give it to Bhagavan, who has the power to take it, who will not talk back. See, you go to any temple, they're all happily smiling. This is the hand. This is a particular mudra. What is mudra is this? Abhaya mudra. Abhaya means don't fear, I am here. Mudra. And they're all smiling. They don't talk back at all. That's why the deities become fantastic therapists. Wonderful, free. You don't have to pay, you can stay for the whole hour. It's not just 50 minutes. And you don't have to, it is free. You don't have to pay. You just go there and say, what have you done with my life? How could you do this? Why did you give me such a rotten life? Why? What did I do to you? You can say whatever you want. And it all becomes a prayer. And something, feels better afterwards. Yes, I gave God good. I've given God a nice scolding. You feel good afterwards. So it's like super therapy. It has done its job. And then the heart quietens down, and then comes the time to say, to see that I'm not really the body, I'm not really the mind, I'm not really the emotions. What am I? Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. That is what it is. Yeah. So without bhakti, no mukti. Bhakti readies one for freedom. There were some other questions here, yes.
Thank you for being here. I would like to come back to the question of parenting.
Yeah.
So, parenting, if your kids grow up and I personally would like to stop being a parent, but I can't because my young adult child is suffering. He can't fit into society. He doesn't know who he is, and it's very difficult. So, what is my duty? Do I still have a duty as a parent to somebody who's 23 years old? And if so, how do I deal with my own suffering? Because there is a relationship
Yes.
between us, and I can't disengage.
Yes, I feel for you. It's not an easy situation, and I can see that you're doing more than your best. I see that. And I commend you for doing your best. It is very, very nice, very, very remarkable. Sometimes what we do to help actually increases the dependency, you see? And so it's like a fine balance. Can you love him from a distance? Can you pray for yourself and him? Can you imagine every day? Doesn't matter what your actions in the everyday are. Can you close your eyes and imagine him, putting him in the lap of God every single day? This is how to start. And then further you will be guided. And the second thing to do is to manage your own suffering. The suffering comes because there is a connection, but the connection need not cause suffering. And also, if I suffer along with somebody else, can I be a source of help to them? And how much? Really? That is something to think of. So the suffering comes because it is there is some kind of an enmeshment. So I learned to detangle, disentangle gently. You see, sometimes there is a knot, like a shoelace, knot in the shoelace. There are two ends coming out. If I pull one, the knot comes apart. If I pull the other, what happens? It tightens. That is what I have to see. Are my actions increasing the enmeshment, or are they helping me to disentangle? Disentangling doesn't mean you don't love him. In fact, that's the best way to love him. And so when you are objective, when you are happy, when you are in your glory, when you are in your power, you can continue parenting from that place instead of trying to rescue him. Something to think about. I know it's easier said than done.
Sorry about me coming without something on my shoulder.
Oh, no, no, not here. It was for the
Yeah, but still.
Yeah, it was for the temple. I am no god, don't worry.
No, but anyway. You said something about when you come back in another life.
Yes.
So means maybe we have previous life.
Yes.
Okay, and I feel this. My question for you is, I have sometimes the impression that the more you have life behind, the higher are your duty to be a better person. And I see that precisely in my children. I have two daughters. One went to life. She was already a very old soul. She was such an old soul, older than me. And my other daughter is a very young
Young
soul.
soul. Yeah.
But what I see is like me feeling that I had past life, and I take care of people. That's my practice. I see that sometimes it seems lighter to be a young soul than a old soul, because when you're old soul, you have all this knowledge to be so fully happy, but also with so much sorrow or difficulty. So when I see my two daughters, this one is just like more often having a good time, and the other one is with a lot of joy, but also sorrow.
I don't think if one is an old, I mean, that's a very fascinating, that itself shows that there are past lives because they're not alike, even though both of them came through you and raised in the same family. Very different. So that's interesting. I would say that I would not say that if one is an old soul, one has to. We have a beautiful explanation in the Dakshinamurti, shloka itself. It goes like this: Chitram vatataror mule vriddha shishya gurur yuva gurostu maunam vyakhyanam Shishyastu chinna samshayah. It says, picture this. So what should I picture? It says, picture this scene under the banyan tree. A young guru, ever 16, and old shishyas, very old students sitting. And the knowledge is happening without any words because Dakshinamurti speaks VSL, Vedantic Sign Language. Yeah. Of Tattvamasi. You are Brahman, you are the whole. And so the knowledge is passed on through the sign language. This is the picture. So all these four sages, Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, and Sanat Sujata, these are all old sages, very, very, very elderly, flowing white beards and hair, top knot, white top knots. And so they don't seem to be suffering. They seem to be very happy gaining the knowledge. So I don't think if one is an old soul, one has to suffer. But I understand the spirit of your question. I think what you're trying to say is that there is a sense of duty and responsibility that cannot fit into the body that is there right now on the earth. Is that what you're trying to say? Yes, yes. So you can help her to still be a child, not childish, childlike. Yes. You can help her to just mm, take it easy, relax a bit, and you can do that. Perhaps she just thought that she needed to take everything on her shoulders when she was small, just out of a previous life habit, perhaps. Who knows? So perhaps she did that. and she, out of habit, she continues to do that. You can say, okay, just relax, let go. You can remind her. That will help. Next. You have a question? No?
Swaminiji,
Yes.
you've very clearly explained yesterday the fallacy of experiential hunting in the self-knowledge pursuit. I'm curious about what's the role of spiritual experience in the antakarana shuddhi, in self-growth process. So, for example, in bhakti, right, we talk about there's these
Yeah.
experiences that
Yeah,
people have and it
of
helps
course.
them.
But it's no different than an ice cream ananda, really. What is happening in ice cream ananda? The subject I is becoming one with the object of desire, which is what? Ice cream. Ice cream ananda. And so in bhakti also, even though it's a quote unquote spiritual experience, still I'm becoming one with the bhajan that I'm singing. I'm becoming one with the people with whom I am singing. I'm becoming one with the lyrics. I'm becoming one with the deity to which the bhajan is offered. There is an immersion, and that immersion is called a spiritual experience. But that immersion is happening every single day, every single time, every single place. It's happening all the time. In every quote unquote mundane experience, also, it is happening. Because without that immersion, there is no ananda. The ananda means there should be no subject object. I should become one with whatever I seek. So that what we call it a spiritual experience because it's happening in the area of this particular uh, bhakti, bhajan, etc. But it is there everywhere. And such experiences tell us, like they are a confirmation of what we already know, that I am one with everything, and I still do not know that. Somewhere I know that. I do not know how to articulate that oneness. I do not know how to produce or reproduce that oneness, but I know it is there and I know I want it. So, any experiences, mundane or spiritual, help me to see that this is what I have to pursue. But if I keep chasing that experience, then I will have many more experiences, and all of them will be what? Fine. It is the forever. And that is what we'll talk about more tonight. Anything else? Yes.
Sometimes I think I've learned a lot from Vedanta, and I think I apply a lot,
Yes.
a lot. Not, anyway, so for example, one day I was sitting in my kitchen and I look out over farmers' fields and mountains, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm looking out, and I feel one with everything.
Yes.
I feel one,
Yes.
right? And then I say to myself, as I'm getting older, I say to myself, well, how many more times do I have to experience this? Like, been there, done that? Like, maybe it doesn't matter if I'm not here anymore because so that I don't know how to connect those two things. Like, how to be with everything and oneness, and then how to do you need and not to need to seek it, so therefore you let it go.
Yes.
So therefore,
Yes. I understand. How to not seek it and still continue to have it and enjoy it. That's what you're asking.
well, I'm not seeking it. I don't feel like I'm seeking it. I feel
Okay.
like I'm experiencing. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
So,
That means, yeah.
well, I mean, like, so I don't know whether I'm, what's the word? I don't know whether that's correct, or is that psychologically sick, or is
No,
that
no, no. Nothing
Vedantically
is
high
psychologically
level,
sick.
or what is it?
It's not psychologically sick. That tells me if you're saying been there, done that, that means you have outgrown seeking oneness through the subject object immersion or the subject object coming together. That's not the kind of oneness that you're seeking. And you have to congratulate yourself because that means you're seeking the oneness that underlies the subject, that underlies the object, which happens to be neither the subject nor the object,
Right.
yet it upholds both without being either. That's all. Yeah.
Do that again? Yes, you have made great progress. Give yourself a big hand. Somewhere there. I guess I'm wondering why or how Ananda leaves. Sometimes I'm in a state, and I think it was about a month ago, I asked myself, like, well, I kind of knew this is going to end. What am I going to do to enhance it the most? And I thought, well, clean. If I have everything clean, I'll come back to it more easily later. And then since that time, I've always kind of known as soon as maybe more like residual thoughts or residual longings kind of enter my mind sphere, I feel like, they're lower than me and I push them away. And I can go on an activity and still kind of hold myself in that state of non-duality. But at some point it breaks and it's like, I'm not quite sure what it is. If it's like a desire came up in me and I didn't recognize that lower nature of myself. Yes, that means, it's like an experiential non-duality. It's easy to get. It's not hard. And it's also, with some practice, easy to maintain. It's like samadhi, correct? It's like samadhi. With some practice, one becomes adept at letting the thoughts go. Yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. So letting the thoughts go, being in that witness state, etc. One can do that. But that is still an experience. That is not what we call Swarupananda. Swarupananda is that which even in the face of sorrow is not affected. That is what it is. So Swarupananda means that which is my nature, that Ananda which is my own nature. And that Ananda which is my own nature is what is being expressed in every minute, in every thought. When I have a thought, there are three components in the thought. There is always a tripod. One is who? Thinker, me. And then the object of thought. Let's say I'm thinking of this cup, which happens to have water. So I'm thinking of this cup. So the cup is the object of thought. I, subject, cup, object. And then how do I connect with the cup? Through a means of knowing. And what is that means of knowing? Eyes. Because that's how I will take the cup through my eyes. So these three components are there in every, in every experience. These three components are there. And as long as I hold on to the knower, then I'm separate from the known. And if I hold on to the known, I'm separate from the knower. And if I hold on to the experience of bridging the knower and the known, then I'm separate from the knower and the known. And so therefore, it is not something that is tenable. I cannot sustain this kind of an ananda, or this kind of an immersion, which is just just a product of mental training. Instead, what I do is I recognize that I am the content, the truth of the thought, the thinker, and the means of knowledge which is connecting the thought and the thinker. That when I understand that as free of this body, free of this mind, as the all-pervasive consciousness, that is what is worldwide. We'll be talking about that. We have plenty of time to develop that. Will that make it any clearer? No? Some clarity. Okay. Agre spashtam bhave. So a little later it will become clear. Just sit with it, don't worry.
The fact that there seemed to be some discomfort in my mind. That is what suffering is. So I'm not the sufferer. What am I? Witness, observer. If I lose the witness, I become witless, and that I should not allow. I should hold on to the witness, Sakshi Chaitanya, the conscious witness. And then I can be of help to myself. I can take things with a, with a bag of salt. I can have a sense of humor. And yes, I can help everybody else. Done? Yes? See you all tomorrow. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.
We want to thank very much Swamini Svatmavidyananda ji. Let's give her a big hand. And we're looking forward to continue with the program tonight. And we just go through the schedule. So at 4 o'clock, we'll have the yoga classes. At 5:45 dinner. 7 o'clock, we have the Gita Parayana. We chant one chapter, and then we have a short study with Swami Sarvananda Giri. So you're all welcome to come to the main temple. And 8 o'clock, we will meet here for the evening satsang. Om Namah Shivaya.